Mumbai's main airport is drowning. 2 crossing runways, 50 million passengers a year, and 0 room to expand. For decades, the city knew it needed a solution. But the only place left to build was a swamp. This is Mumbai's second international airport. It took nearly 30 years to build.
Navi Mumbai International Airport is ready for takeoff.
Major boost to Indian aviation, the Navi Mumbai International Airport.
The Navi Mumbai Airport is ready for takeoffs.
Engineers flattened a hill, moved a river, and raised swampland just to make it possible. Now, Navi Mumbai International Airport has finally opened. When complete, it could handle 90 million passengers a year, more than Singapore's Changi Airport does today. But moving a river is one thing. Moving millions of passengers to this remote site? That is proving to be an entirely different challenge. Even after all that effort, one big question remains. Can this airport truly work if people struggle just to reach it? Please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel. Mumbai is India's financial capital. Over 20 million people live in its wider region. For decades, the city relied on just one major airport, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International. It now handles over 50 million passengers annually. Its 2 runways cross each other, limiting how many flights can operate at once. Delays are constant. Worse, the airport is landlocked by dense urban development. There is no space to expand. India's aviation market is growing faster than almost anywhere else. Airlines are ordering hundreds of new planes. Without a second airport, Mumbai would simply grind to a halt. So, planners proposed a new airport across the harbor in Navi Mumbai. The idea first appeared in 1997. On paper, it looked simple. In reality, it became one of India's most delayed infrastructure projects. For nearly 25 years, the airport existed only on paper. Approvals dragged, environmental clearances stalled, land disputes triggered protests. The project received formal approval in 2007, but little visible work happened for years. Only after 2018 did construction truly accelerate. By December 2025, Phase 1 finally opened. 1 runway, 1 terminal, capacity for 20 million passengers per year. It was a breakthrough, but it cost over $2.3 billion for the first phase alone. The chosen site was not empty land. It was a coastal wetland filled with mangroves and rivers. At its center stood Ulvi Hill, 2 kilometers long and nearly 95 meters high. A river also cut directly through the future runway zone. Before they could build an airport, engineers had to reshape the landscape itself. They began blasting Ulvi Hill using controlled explosions. Over 62 million cubic meters of rock were removed. Imagine carving down a small mountain. Instead of wasting the rock, engineers reused it as foundation. They spread it across the swampy ground, raising the entire site up to 11 meters above sea level. This helped protect it from flooding. They diverted the Ulvi River, bending it almost 90 degrees into a new channel. They even moved high-tension power lines underground to clear airspace. Piece by piece, unstable wetlands transformed into solid ground, capable of supporting a 3,700-meter runway, long enough for a jumbo jet to fly non-stop to New York. But reshaping nature came with consequences. More than 160 hectares of mangroves disappeared. Environmental groups raised alarms about flood risks and biodiversity loss. Flamingos and other birds once nested in these wetlands. Around 3,000 families across 10 villages were affected by land acquisition. Many were farmers and fishing communities. Protests broke out. Hunger strikes took place. Legal battles slowed progress again and again. Only by mid-2022 was full land handover completed. These tensions reveal a truth about modern infrastructure. Building at scale is no longer just about concrete and steel. It is also about communities and ecosystems. Once the ground was ready, the airport itself began to rise. The terminal was designed by Zaha Hadid architects. Its sweeping roof draws inspiration from the lotus flower, a symbol deeply rooted in Indian culture. From above, the structure appears like petals opening outward. The design allows natural light to flood the building while managing heavy monsoon rain. Phase 1 includes 1 terminal and 1 runway. At full build-out, the airport will feature 2 parallel runways and 4 terminals. Combined capacity will reach 90 million passengers per year. That would push Mumbai's total aviation capacity beyond 140 million. The site spans 1,160 hectares. That is roughly 1,650 football fields. Right now, the old Mumbai airport remains heavily congested. Flights operate almost every minute during peak hours. Delays ripple through the system constantly. In contrast, Navi Mumbai currently handles around 15 to 40 departures per day.
The experience was pretty good. The luggage was a little late and the roof was leaking a little bit, but apart from that, the infrastructure is pretty good.
There is plenty of room to grow. Globally, airports like Dubai International handle close to 100 million passengers a year. Istanbul and Doha operate huge transit hubs with smooth rail access. Navi Mumbai has the ambition to join that league. It sits near India's largest container port, opening doors for sea-air cargo integration. On paper, the potential is enormous, but reality on the ground tells a more complicated story.
The Navi Mumbai International Airport is all set to commence operations today.
It was the first day of commercial flight.
I think they're still building a lot of stuff, but it was very clean, the entire experience.
Scroll through reviews of the airport since its December opening, and one word appears again and again: distance. The airport sits nearly 50 kilometers from central Mumbai. For some travelers, reaching it can take up to 3 hours in traffic. Unlike the old airport, which is a short drive from the city's business districts, this new one requires a journey that feels more like a road trip. Public transport options remain extremely limited. A few bus routes have been added, but they get stuck in the same traffic. A metro line is planned, but if it follows a timeline anything like the airport itself, it could be a decade before it arrives. Unlike Dubai or Seoul's Incheon Airport, which connect directly to high-speed rail, Navi Mumbai depends almost entirely on roads and taxis. There is another surprising issue. Mobile phone coverage inside the terminal has been weak. A dispute between the airport operator and telecom companies delayed network installation. Passengers arriving at a brand new airport in 2026 have found themselves unable to book a cab or call home. These are classic startup problems, yet they matter. An airport succeeds not because of its architecture, but because of how smoothly passengers move through and beyond it. There is also a deeper concern. The airport stands on land that was once a natural sponge. Wetlands absorb rainwater during heavy storms. When that land is filled with concrete, water must go somewhere else. Engineers built drainage channels and raised the elevation. But Mumbai has seen severe flooding in the past.
Mumbai is witnessing another spell of heavy monsoon showers with intense rain lashing Andheri.
Climate change adds new uncertainty. If rainfall intensifies, these systems will face serious tests. The airport represents a triumph of engineering. Yet nature will always have the final word. Despite its challenges, Navi Mumbai International Airport changes Indian aviation. India wants to become a major global player. Airlines are expanding long-haul routes. Direct flights to Europe and North America can grow if capacity exists. The new airport offers that space. As future phases add a second runway, operations will increase. International flights are expected to expand from 2027. Over time, the old airport may handle domestic traffic, while Navi Mumbai becomes the primary long-haul hub. If everything goes to plan, this airport could reshape travel for millions. Navi Mumbai International Airport shows what it takes to build infrastructure at scale. It required reshaping hills and rivers. It required billions in investment. It required negotiating with communities. It required patience measured in decades. Today it stands open. Aircraft land on a runway that did not exist a few years ago. A lotus-shaped terminal welcomes travelers. Yet the story is not finished. Success will depend on rail links, road upgrades, and reliable phone signals. It will depend on how well flood systems perform. And it will depend on how smoothly it grows from 20 million passengers to 90 million. Mumbai waited nearly 30 years for this airport. Now the real begins. Because building a mega airport is one achievement. Making it truly work is another.